right, welcome back to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Danny Lacrosse, and we are in Season 3 of this show. It's been amazing. First year was awesome. Second year, even better. Now let's make it another great year. So NHL season's back. Boston Bruins are back. Just a week away. The puck will drop. And alongside we got back is Mike Payne.
Hello.
And James Quinn.
Hello.
The one and onlys. So guys, I'm pretty excited. I know you guys are excited. I know VFI just finished another championship in the books. So let's get right into it. Boston Bruins talk. Let's start off with finally David Pastrnak getting signed a 6-year contract for overall $40 million, which averaged to $6.67 million a year. What do you guys think about it? We waited the whole summer for this to happen. What do you guys think about this signing?
I think it's a great sign for both sides. I think Pastrnak wins in the deal. I think the Bruins win in the deal. They get a 30-goal scorer, potentially 40-goal scorer. I haven't projected for this year. I think what got it done was they loaded his contract out front. So the first 2 years he's making $8 million. So same value at the end of the term, but I think that's what got the deal done, and I'm really glad it happened.
I am so excited they finally got this deal done. I started getting nervous. There was obviously that churning of the mill that maybe they're not going to be able to re-sign him. Excuse me. But it works perfectly for both sides. He's going to hit free agency again at the age of 26, going right into his prime years. What's scary to think is, he's a point-a-game player already, and he hasn't even hit the prime of his career. And in camp in the preseason, he came in shape, ready to play hockey. He's locked and loaded. I think 40 goals this year, just like Mike just said.
I totally agree with you, Quinn, in the fact that I think what else got this deal done was he's up for another contract when he's 26, just entering his prime. So I think they told him, they were like, hey, you could get a big contract right at 26, and I think that's what finally got it done.
It's wonderful for both sides. I don't think either side got the low end of the stick there. He's going to be able to maximize his free agent potential with the big contract again in 6 years while making, what he's deserved right now.
Yeah, I know he's looking for more money, and obviously it seems like he wanted to stay with the Bruins. One of our top players, first line. Do you have any, it just baffles me that it took all summer for this to happen. I don't know what Bruce Cassidy or Cam Neely were doing, bouncing things around, whether it was moving contracts around, moving something around. But I was pretty excited. He's a top player, like you said. He's going to be in his prime in 6 years, which means he'll be 26, like you said. And what do you you said he's going to have 40? You think he's going to have 40 goals? So this is positive for the Boston Bruins. It's a good thing. He's going to be in that first line with Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and I forget who's alongside with him. But any thoughts of why it took this long?
I don't actually think it was the Bruins' fault in terms of negotiating with him and why it took so long. His camp sat out waiting for Leon Draisaitl to sign out in Edmonton. He got overpaid. He's making $8.5 million a season, and they were trying. Pasternak's camp is pushing to get a similar number. In Draisaitl's contract was just too much. I'm glad that his side did come down in their number. I think it works out better for both sides. I think Edmonton's going to run themselves into cap trouble. Peter Chiarelli's the GM out there, and you know how he likes to give out bad contracts.
Sorry, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say it. What took this deal so long was they were waiting to see what Edmonton did with Leon Draisaitl. Drafted the same year as Pastrnak. I think he was a top 5 pick, if I'm...
Yeah, it was...
around there, definitely top 10. Pastrnak was a 24th, 25th overall pick. And you look at the money that Draisaitl got, I think he got 8 years, 8.5.
8.5,
every.
yeah.
Oh, my God, that's incredible. So I think that's what really took Pasternak's camp by storm, and they were like, wow, well, if he got this, Pastrnak scored 30 some odd goals last year. Why can't we get that?
I do see Draisaitl making maybe a little bit more money, though, in this contract because he does play center. He takes face-offs. There is more value in that. He does play better in the D zone. But as far as being a dynamic offensive player, obviously both high ends, future elite players in this league. But I think right now having that defensive aspect on Draisaitl's end is what would get him a little bit more money. It shouldn't have been 8.5.
Leave it to old GM Peter Chiarelli to screw the Bruins over once again, you know?
Yeah.
Good old Peter Chiarelli. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked that David Pastrnak stayed with us. I think I don't know what I would think if we lost him. He's a talented player. He's been up there with the goals along with Brad Marchand. And I don't know. I hope it'll be another successful season for David Pastrnak because he's one of the best players on the Boston Bruins.
Absolutely.
As a young kid. So this new player, Andreas Bajork, young player. I noticed that he's been playing with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. Bruce Cassidy says that he works pretty well with them. He's been doing very well in the preseason so far. What do you think of this new kid, this young kid?
I love him. I went to training camp at a preseason game. I love how a kid his size isn't afraid to get in front of the net, isn't afraid to go to the dirty areas, dig the puck. Talented skater. He actually reminds me of Phil Kessel when he skates, just a big, long stride. Was a standout at Notre Dame last year. I think he was a Hobie Baker finalist.
Yeah, he played the season last year.
Yeah, unbelievable numbers. I really think this kid's going to crack the top line with Bergeron and Marchand. So I'm really excited to see what he has.
I'm really excited they got the deal done with him. The Bruins actually tried to get him out when Notre Dame got eliminated in the NCAAs last year, for their playoff push, and he said no. There's talk that he might go back to Notre Dame and hit an unrestricted free agency, outweighing his 3-year allotted time after the year he's drafted. 5th round pick too, so it's a steal to find somebody that developed that late. So I'm glad they got the deal done. His father and his mother both went to Notre Dame, and he has a lot of pride in USA Hockey, and there was talk of him wanting to possibly play in the Olympics this year. I'm glad he made the decision to come out, play with the Bruins, and I think he's going to be an effective top 6 forward right away. There'll be some growing pains, but he's not afraid to shoot the puck. He's got a lot of speed. I think if you can't have Pastrnak on that line because you want to put him with Krejci, put him with a proven goal scorer, that he's a good fill, and it's a lot better than having a guy like Brett Conley on that line.
Yeah, I think what was good that the Bruins did was they pulled him out of there instead of going back to Notre Dame, and they said, listen, we like the talent, we like your game, we can promise you top 6 minutes or top 6 time playing with our top 2 lines, and I think that's what sold him on it, and I think it was a right fit at the right time, and I'm really excited about him.
Think he'll start next week?
Opening night?
Yeah.
Yes, I think he's going to be on the first line with Bergeron and Marchand. He's been playing there all preseason. They haven't moved him around, haven't tried anything else. I mean, I don't see, and it's working. I mean, he scored a goal the other night against Chicago.
Scored a 5-on-3 goal against Montreal.
Scored a 5-on-3, yes. Yeah, he's got a good shot. I don't think there's anything stopping this kid.
Yeah, just keep his game simple and pick up things from Bergeron and Marchand. Those are 2 established elite players in the NHL. Just be a sponge, absorb things. Don't try to do too much. They'll correct you, and they'll let you know when you're doing things right or wrong.
All right. Yeah, I just reading. I haven't paid attention too much to the preseason, which is not good on my part. But I will once the puck drops next week. Just reading through articles after preseason games, it seems like this kid has a lot of talent and is working really well with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. And I hope this kid does well and helps us go far in this 2017-2018 season and maybe make another playoff run. I honestly, the reason why I asked you is if he was going to start because I wasn't sure. I wasn't certain if he was going to start. You think he is?
He'll start on that line. Maybe they start with the Krejci line first game of the season. Who knows? It's always different. Sometimes teams put their fourth lines out there.
Yeah.
But I think he'll definitely be with that line to start.
Yeah, and they're playing Nashville the first game.
Yeah. Tough matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were Stanley Cup contenders last year.
Yeah.
So
They won the West.
So that will be a tough matchup, not an easy matchup.
Good test opening night.
Yep.
And one of the captains just recently retired. From
Mike Fisher retired.
So another season has come by. New head coach, not new, but has been with us for almost a year now. Bruce Cassidy. It's done pretty well for the Boston Bruins. Led us into the playoffs. Ottawa gave us a run in the first round. I personally thought Bruce Cassidy helped us big time halfway through the season by winning more games, matching players where they are. What are your thoughts on Bruce Cassidy from the past season, and what you think? What do you see coming out of this season? Him as a coach.
I like Bruce Cassidy a lot. When he took over the team, he finished the season 18-8-1 with the Bruins. That really stood out in my mind. I like the way he's well-spoken. He preaches about being a fan of the team. He's very proud. He's proud to coach an original six, which I love to see. Unfortunately, they ran into a tough test against Ottawa in the first round, who were Eastern Conference finalists. And the Bruins happened to be devastated with injury at the time, so they were playing with almost a Providence Bruins roster.
Yeah, they did give him a run though.
Yeah, so I really liked what I saw with what they had, and I'm very interested to see how this year goes. More of an offensive style, different from what we're used to with Claude Julien now in Montreal, who was a defensive-minded coach. So I like this approach a lot. I think the NHL is moving towards a faster game. Every year it seems to be faster. So I think you have to have this approach in order to compete.
One thing that will come down in the wrap on him is he's not his players' coach. He'll call out his players in the media, and that has made players upset. When he was the head coach in Washington, there was an issue in the locker room, making comments about players' personal lives shouldn't be getting in the way of their performance on the ice. So it'll be interesting to see, has he moved on from that? Does he approach it with a different style? If this team drops 3 games in a row, how does he control the room? Does he actually still have that grasp in the room for the longevity of an NHL season, or was it the players kind of stepped up last season with a coach firing? Because that often happens too. Teams turn around just when they realize, their coach, for a lot of them, for their whole NHL careers, was gone.
Yeah. And he's finished 18-8-1 for the rest of the season.
Yes.
After Claude Julien has left. I was pretty happy. We all knew that this was coming. We've been talking about it for 3 seasons now, ever since the rebuild. I'm excited to see what happens this coming season. Also, another playoff run, I can see it already, especially with some coming players that have talent, like, for instance, Charlie McAvoy, who came in last season right before the playoffs, came in, played in the playoffs, showed some tremendous talent for his NHL debut. What do you think of Charlie McAvoy coming into the 2017-2018 season?
I think Charlie McAvoy is going to be you're going to have your bumps. He is 19 years old.
Yeah, he's still a kid.
You got to realize, for him to show those poise when he stepped in the NHL playoffs like that against Ottawa, that's something you just don't find every day. So I think he's not only an elite talent, but I think he's his mentality's there. So you're still going to have your bumps in the road. It's his first pro season. You got to see how he handles being on the road, playing an 82-game schedule. But I think with him in the lineup, the Bruins are a lot better team. I think he's a great puck mover, moves his feet, can jump in the play. Good shot. There's a lot to like about him.
He's going to get a lot of minutes. I hope it's not 26 minutes a game to start out like it was during the playoffs last year. Obviously, they're in a pinch. They needed him to play those minutes. I'd like to see him around maybe like 22, 23 a game. You are going to have some bumps in the road there. He's used to playing college schedule where it was every Friday and Saturday night. You practiced during the week. The travel was not nearly as extensive. So I think you might see, January, February fatigue start to set in with him, much like Brandon Carlo last year. Brandon Carlo started out very strong. As you could tell as the season worked its way through, he started to show some, rookie signs of fatigue, started making some poor decisions. So as long as he can, keep his head on the shoulders, I understand he's going to make mistakes and just learn from them. Don't make those same mistakes again, and just try to improve as a hockey player every day. He's gonna be a future star in this league.
All right. So going to Charlie McAvoy. I can see him, not playing every game, but like you guys said, kid, still got to get used to the schedule and the NHL life. But let's go on to Tuukka Rask and Malcolm Subban. I want to know what your thoughts on coming into the season with Tuukka Rask. I know he's had some bumps with the playoff run, being tardy and sick and making excuses. And he has his ups and downs. And also I want to talk about backup goalie Malcolm Subban and what he can bring to the table this season.
With Tuukka Rask, I've always said I think the best goalies, the ones that are most successful in the playoffs, are the ones whose workload is limited during the regular season. With that said, you need to have a backup that can go out and win you games, and they're not just throwaways. Malcolm Subban is not proven to be a goalie that can go out and win. I think in both his NHL starts, he's had shutouts after the first period. Beginning of the second period, he lets 3 out of the first 6 shots he faced, and all of a sudden he's getting pulled. One of the issues with Subban this year is for them to send him down to Providence, because he actually just re-signed a contract in the offseason, is he would have to go through waivers, and they're worried about somebody picking him up. And I think they don't want to take the hit of knowing their first-round pick materialized into absolutely nothing for them. They got nothing back for him. So that's something that'll be worked out during the season. But they need to find a backup wherever it comes from.
Yeah, so I think going off that, like you said, limiting his role, I think the magic number is 60 games. So I think they want to keep it under 60. Like you said, the teams that have the best success in the playoffs are the ones that limit their goalies' roles and can cycle 2 goalies. The backup goalie role, I think it's Anton Khudobin's job to lose. So he hasn't really he's had a strong training camp, I believe. He's had a strong preseason. So I don't think he's done anything to lose that position. I think Subban, like you said, his first 2 games before were rough for him. I mean, he came out in the first period and then he crapped his pants in the second period, to be honest. And I think that Subban, he just had like that devastating injury last year where he took the puck in the throat or something.
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. So he's still so that was a minor setback for him as far as playing time. His last preseason game, he had a really good third period, and I think that is what people, that's what they think of when they hear his name, was his last preseason game. But I mean, if you can build off that, great. But you still need to show me some more if you want to be a backup goalie in the NHL.
I will say though, in that Chicago game, that goalie gave up to Saad.
That tip back.
That was weak. Yeah, off his back. I think he's got to hold the post there. I think he's got to make that save.
Yeah, for sure. A soft goal.
You're up 3-0. I know it's preseason, but you don't want anybody crawling back in a game with you.
Gotcha. So, Torrey Krug, you told me he broke his jaw. Apparently there's an open spot for his position. Who do you think's going to take that spot?
Yeah, so I think right now it looks like Matt Grzelcyk. From what I've seen from the lines, they seem to be keeping Chara and Carlo together, along with McAvoy and Kevin Miller. So they need someone to play along McQuaid. And from what I've seen, they've given Grzelcyk that time. That being said, I mean, O'Gara could step up, and Paul Postma, who they signed in the offseason, could step up. I think it will be Grizzlick to take that spot. I think he's got good puck moving skills. He gives him a little bit of a Krug-esque kind of play along with the power play, which is big for them. So I think it'll be Matt Grizzlick to step up in that role.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Matt Grizzlick. I think he, showed some promise last year when called up. He's a puck-moving defenseman. Gives you a little bit more speed back there, paired with McQuaid. McQuaid, obviously a bruiser, good in front of the net. Will do anything for the team, but it's nice to pair him with somebody that's a really strong skater, and I think you get that with Grizzlick, and he likes to handle the puck. So.
All right. Yeah, I didn't, you just told me before the show that Torrey Krug broke his jaw, and so you guys think Matt Grizzlick's going to fill this position. Also, some players to talk about. I list some of them. Payne, you added. You wanted to talk about Jake DeBrusk?
DeBrusk, yes.
DeBrusk.
So Jake DeBrusk, he's been playing on the second line with Krejci and Pasternak. I think he fits in good. I think the Bruins really want to see this kid fit in good. With that being said, he's still a kid. Last year was his first year of pro hockey. He played in Providence. I want to say he scored around 19 goals. Promising player. So I think the expectations going into the season was pairing him with Pasta and Krejci, and I think he's done pretty well. He hasn't lit the lamp yet, but he's not afraid to get in the dirty areas, create loose pucks, go to him. In the Detroit game, the one game that they lost in the preseason, he did get pulled off that line late in the third period. I want to say they put Danton Heinen on that line. But they played tonight, and from what I've seen, the projected lines are the first two lines are going to be Marchand, Bergeron, Bjork, Pasternak, Krejci, and DeBrusk. So, I mean, it's DeBrusk's job to lose. I think they really just want this kid to take this position and step up, and I think it makes the Bruins a better team and balance out the lines if he really steps up and takes his role.
From everything I read about the Providence Bruins last year, starting in about January, DeBrusk was the best player on that team the rest of the way through. 19 goals, they said that was an understatement for how well he actually played. He created a lot of opportunities. He was really strong. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals of the Calder Cup. Mm-hmm. So, I like that they're giving him the chance to succeed. I like how they're, giving chances to these young guys, which has been an issue in the past of not, saying they've drafted all of these exceptional talents, but then they're not playing. They're still stuck in Providence. So, give them a chance. Whether it's a 5-6 window, reevaluate then. And then if it's not working, maybe you send him back down to Providence for some more time, maybe need some more seasoning, or maybe he's more a third-line player right now. But we'll see. Ideally, though, with a first-round pick and his ratings, he projects, though, to be a top 6 forward.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea with him, is give him an 8-10 game window, then reevaluate from there and say, okay, he's stepping up, or okay, no, we need to get someone else to pair in with Krejci and Pasta. I think that's exactly what they're going to do moving forward here.
You think he'll start next week against Nashville, or do you think they'll get a wait?
I think he will start. I think they'll put him in that 8 to 10 game window, and I think it'll start with Nashville, game 1.
Barring injuries, I mean, we obviously projected Torrey Krug to be in those 6 defensemen on opening night, and he's another week and a half before he even gets reevaluated with a broken jaw, and when he comes back, he'll have the jaw plate on. Yeah,
he'll be a week into the season before he gets reevaluated, and I got to tell you, from what I saw, because I went to training camp, he looked great. Yeah. He looked phenomenal. He was easily, in my eyes, just throwing saucer passes to anyone. He could hit anyone on the tape, and I think it was a hit because I really wanted to see him and McAvoy together on that power play to start the year, or just see how they build off each other, even though they're not paired together as a set.
Tough break for him too, missing the playoffs last year with a late season injury. So obviously, if he was having a strong preseason, we'll see how if his game he did elevate his game coming into the season. So he'll be back, and it'll be interesting to see what he can contribute. He was a half a point a game player last year. I'd like to see him do it again, be accountable on his own end.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but 40 assists last year, and I think this year he's 26. I
Yeah,
believe.
he's 26.
Yeah,
He's an April 91 birthday.
So he is just stepping into his prime, and
Yeah.
I think the sky's the limit with him.
yeah. There's quite a few seasons being an NHL defenseman too. He's seasoned.
All right, before we go, let's take a look at the first month of the season. What are you guys' thoughts? First game is against Nashville, then they're with Colorado, and then Colorado again. Arizona, Las Vegas, they're away. I'd like to see how that plays out because that's a brand new team, brand new organization, new location too. And then they have Vancouver home, Buffalo home, San Jose home, Los Angeles home, Columbus away. So I would say a pretty balanced schedule with being away and home. It looks like away's winning by actually, I don't know, but
The first game of the season is going to be a tough matchup for them. Nashville, they're at home, which is obviously going to be an advantage for them. But they get back-to-back against Colorado. Colorado was the worst team in the NHL last year. They should get 2 points in each of those games, and then they should get 2 points against Arizona. That's another bad team. A lot of young talent, but they're still not there yet. Las Vegas, this might be the worst team in the history of the NHL. That's another 2 points they're going to get, and that's probably the first game you're going to see whoever the Bruins' backup goalie is against. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets that role and if they perform.
Yeah, it's a crazy first month. There's only one Atlantic Division opponent in there in Buffalo. So you get a real test against the Western Conference, I'd say.
you do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, like that Nashville game, starting the season off with a Stanley Cup contender last year. So definitely a game to watch. And like you said, that Las Vegas game they got to have. So it'll be an interesting first month for sure.
Yeah. So we're about to wrap it up. Any final thoughts before we sign off tonight?
Bruins playoffs again. I'm gonna say they're not in a wild card. They're coming third in the Atlantic Division.
I got, if healthy, obviously health pending, I got the Bruins making the playoffs again and winning the first round of the playoffs.
I would like to see the Bruins make another run at the playoffs, and I don't see why they can't do it with the coaching and the players and the new-coming players that can show some talent. One more thing before we sign off. Let the audience know what's one thing you did over the summer that you really enjoyed.
I'll take this one first. Over the summer, VFI, Vegas Fighting Irish, we won our 4th championship. Big, proud, memorable moment for me. Love being part of this team. It's been a great run. Can't wait to keep it going.
Yeah, same. Summer hockey every year is really fun. Probably take it way too serious for an old fat guy league, but we have a great time playing.
We stand out in that league.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you guys love it.
If you saw us play, you wouldn't want us to talk about hockey.
I didn't go to the game, but I saw you guys' celebration through social media. It looked pretty enjoyable.
If you walked in the locker room, you would have thought it was a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the first episode of Season 3. I'm your host, Danny Lacrosse, alongside James Quinn, Mike Payne. Go Pats, go Bruins.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Yeah, my hat's blue and red, but my jersey's all
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
I'm from a town where it's sports over everything.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
It's Red Sox all summer, but the winter it's
Black and yellow, black and yellow.